One, two, three. Oh, hey Keith, how are you?
I'm doing well, Vanessa. Thank you very much. I
Good.
appreciate the opportunity to have a conversation.
Yeah, absolutely. So where are you? Where are you joining from?
I'm on the west coast of the US, so just south of Seattle. Mount Rainier is just over that ridge, about 20 miles.
Okay, and it's currently spring there, is that right?
Oh, it's definitely spring, yes. It's
We
beautiful. It's been a beautiful day.
Oh, cool. We're going into winter. We're in autumn now, and
Hmm.
I usually at about 4 o'clock every day I go and sit outside in the sun, listen to some music, and kind of come up with creative things for the next day. So Keith calls himself the bald guy in marketing. So
Yeah.
he delves in marketing. He's also a big advocate for Go High Level. And today Keith's going to share his story
Mm.
with everybody, and hopefully a big chunk of my 64,000 audience, my combined audience, will see this. Certainly, we'll put it on my YouTube channel and all my social media, and then send it out to my 50,000 email database that sits in high level. So
Yeah.
I'm going to hand it over to you and tell people why you do what you do, and how it
Yeah.
all started, and what motivates you to get up each day and do it again. So over to you, and let's hear.
Okay. Well, thank you, Vanessa. Thank you. Actually, when you said it, how did it start? It's almost easier to tell it as a chronological story, but there is a short version. Um, so I did 24 years active duty in the U.S. Army. And when I got out of the Army, I didn't know what I wanted to be when I grew up. And this guy says, "Hey, come run my little local print shop and you immerse yourself in the local business community." To which my first reaction was, why would anyone want to be in printing in the 21st century? And the answer is printing still matters. There are, but my journey in the print shop, I wanted to talk about strategic thinking, and I would deliver somebody's print project to them, and I would want to ask them, so what are you going to do with these flyers or business cards or whatever it is? And they didn't seem interested in having a conversation with the print guy about their marketing strategy. Well, I came from a Army strategic planning world, and this is what's interesting to me. Um, but I learned about this whole different level of business below corporate. And what I knew I didn't want to do is transition my Army green to corporate gray. I didn't, that's not the world I wanted to go into. I just didn't know how to find it. So the printing found it for me. Um, when it came time to leave the print shop, being in digital marketing allows me to have, instead of saying, if this is all the things that marketing is, and it's obviously way more than five or 10, but this is printing. And there's all these other things that constitute marketing, and printing is only one tiny piece of them. By being a marketing strategist or a marketing generalist, I get to talk about all of them. And I have, instead of, hopefully, I get to sell you printing in the process, I actually have a much broader portfolio. Um, but what I focus on, especially with my initial conversations with people, is what is your business journey kind of thing, and my initial offer is I have a marketing consultation that I do for people that often it's design often the outcome is I don't get to sell you anything else. If I do my marketing consultation right for a solopreneur or a mom and pop kind of business, often they can't afford to hire me as a marketing department, as a marketing service provider. But
Right.
I've given them enough details in the marketing consultation, in the marketing plan, that now they know what to focus on. The the problem that a lot of the small businesses face at that tier, the solopreneurs, the mom and pops, the 10 people or less kind of companies, um, is they're wearing so many different hats, and they know they should be doing marketing, but this person tells them do that, and the other person tells them to do this thing, and they have 10 or 12 different things that they should be doing, and they don't know how to do any of them well, and so they don't do any of them at all.
Right. Yeah, definitely. I definitely see that, right?
So the point of the marketing consultation is to provide an action plan that's that's not a that's not a 54-page MBA level corporate marketing strategy, that it's a 1 page, maybe 4 pages of actionable, do this now, do this thing next week. And then 3 months from now, if that's not helping, that now at least you've laid a foundation, and we can talk then about what you should do next. But a lot of these people, they're so scattered. They're doing a little bit of this on Facebook, and they're doing a little bit of this on the other place, and they don't really have a cohesive plan.
Oh, you're
And
right. You're right.
it it looks what I it looks like what I call random acts of marketing.
Mhm. Yeah,
And
interesting.
so
And I actually put a post out yesterday. I'd seen a few posts of people posting about particularly the coaching space and how
mhm,
there's this mass detox. First the FTC came in and swooped in and fined people like a Nick, and I don't know if you know Nick, but now he turned that around and he teaches what not to do to get get
mhm,
in trouble with the FTC.
mm, right.
And what I didn't realize is in New Zealand
Mhm,
that it actually impacts me too if I deal with a US company, right?
mhm,
Then it impacts me too. And I can
mhm,
actually go and complain to the FTC if I want. And so people
mhm,
in New Zealand get real confused when there's FTC in my terms and conditions. And I'm like, well, if you're not in the United States and it doesn't apply to you, just ignore it.
mhm, right.
Um,
But
but
if you're in the EU, the GPR applies. And so you and I both, although you're in New Zealand and I'm in the US, we still have to have GPR compliance in our terms of service because we have international audiences, international business, do business international.
exactly. And what you were saying about the print industry and how obviously everything has gone digital, I actually met a guy recently. I went to an event in the Coromandel called Beach Hop, and that's actually why I dyed my hair. It's a rock and roll event, and it's all these classic cars older than 1972. And people can enter their car, their bike, their caravan, their food truck. There were different categories, but you could actually win a 69 Mustang. And so I thought, shit, I'll go. I definitely put my hat in the ring for that one.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. They were giving away a caravan and all kinds of things. But anyway, the guy I met, he was the traditional sign writer. We actually painted the signs. So he was an actual sign writer artist. And he says, well, of course, no, that's like a dying art. But he still does. So he just works part-time here and there for different sign writers where custom work is required and digital is not going to hack it. So you're right, there is
Mhm.
still a place for print, definitely. So I'd love to hear a bit more about that, Keith.
Okay. Well, so you and I both fans of high level. Um, frankly, one of the tools that exists inside our mobile app is a business card scanner. And it's the magic isn't the piece of paper. The magic is what do you do with it? And so when someone hands you a business card and you say, "Oh, isn't it really nice to meet you?" and now you have reinforced in your mind who what their name is, and you have this conversation. Okay, and so often they get put in a pocket or put in a purse, and the someone looks at it again one more time, and then it goes in the recycle bin. And the author of Will It Fly, Patrick Flynn, says the riches are in the niches, but the fortune is in the follow-up. The power of high level is I can scan this business card and immediately trigger action, a workflow that sends them a message and says, it was so nice to meet you at event, whatever the most recent, the event that I was at. I get this stack of cards at this particular event. So I tag all these people with this event. It sends each of them a message and says, I just love to follow up with you at some point in the future. Let's schedule a meeting. And even that simple little thing, it's not that the automations, it's if the automations are doing something that we would not otherwise do, then they're inauthentic.
Exactly. That's what I say.
But
Yeah, they people that balk against AI. I said it's really to make you more efficient, more productive.
Mhm,
And
mhm.
I mean, we all know the money's in the follow-up, right? Like if you don't
Yeah.
follow up, and how many people don't follow up? Why? Because it's tedious.
Hmm.
And you just don't feel like doing it, and you feel like you're chasing people. But if you can
Hmm.
automate the process, it's
Hmm.
not the process itself, it's the fact that you are reaching out that they
Hmm.
appreciate. And of course, if you
Yeah.
do that in a personalized way, then
Hmm.
that's well received, and then that's a great segue to book a call.
Yeah.
You can
Right.
actually sell.
Right. And so it's the process. I think you said it's not the automation of the process, it's the fact that this is the tediousness is why we need to automate it. But
Right.
it's we're automating a process that we would otherwise do manually. And so we take this process that, okay, I know I need to do this. I know I need to do this. It just takes a lot of time and it's a distraction from all of the other things that I need to do because because I'm wearing all the hats. Um, and so I can put this particular task, not the not the relationship building, but I can put the connecting with the person on an automation where I can remind them, yes, this is when we had the conversation when we met. Let's schedule the next meet. Let's schedule the follow up. That follow up is where we're building a relationship. The automation just facilitates the relationship.
Absolutely, yeah. That's the way I see it as well. And I think that like I heard, I don't know if you know Eddie Pinero, but or Evan
Mhm.
Carmichael. So they're good friends, and so he had Evan Carmichael on a podcast. And Evan Carmichael says, now this guy's got millions of followers. And he says in 10 years' time, there'll be two types of businesses: those that have embraced AI and are thriving, and those who have not and no longer exist. And I
Mm.
think that's what's happening in the coaching industry now. A lot of people became coaches and were taught things that they were taught 10 years ago and are still
Mhm.
teaching that same thing. And so a coach to coach to be a coach to coach to coach to be a coach, and at the end of the day, it's the same recycled garbage.
That's hilarious. Thank you for pausing, but that was hilarious. That was coaching coaches to be a coach to coach coaches to coach because coach. Right.
I know.
Okay, sorry.
And that's how you end up with a coach that teaches you nothing. That
Hmm.
you end up paying a lot of money for because they run flashy ads or they have a flashy Instagram profile, or I don't even give
Hmm.
a toss about any of that stuff, right? I don't
Right.
care. I care about the credibility of a person, the integrity of a person, and the authenticity of a person and
Hmm.
their own natural talent, right? And it's like recently, people go, "Oh, I don't want to work with people in Nigeria," but if they are willing to show up and they show me that they
Hmm.
are talented in what they do, I am willing to listen to them with an open mind.
Hmm.
So I had one guy, he showed up pitch black, 3 o'clock in the morning, he still showed up. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
Most people would not.
Yep.
Um, and so I was willing to listen to him.
Uh-huh. And and show up authentically.
Exactly.
Not hide behind a logo, hide behind a brand name, not hide behind a fake name.
Absolutely.
Be your real self. Whoever you are, be proud of who you are.
Yeah. And look, I think that
And then do good work. And you'll the world will reward you for that.
Yeah, exactly. But I think that what people do is, authentic storytelling, in terms of building a personal brand, it's slower than just running ads and stuff. So,
Hmm.
but people have to learn to be patient if that's the route you're going to take, right?
Yeah.
Things aren't
Yeah.
just going to happen magically overnight, and there is no, get to six figures in 3 months. That doesn't exist, right? That shit doesn't exist. Uh,
Hmm.
it might have, we see Alex Hormozy and we see, different people and we go, oh my God, how did they do it? But they slogged it out for many years before they became famous. You know what I mean? They
Yes,
slogged it.
absolutely.
We don't see that, or,
Yeah.
Walt Disney being told that he's not creative enough.
Uh-huh.
With Mickey Mouse, he got told 100 times. He kept
Uh-huh.
trying. He just kept
Yeah.
going. And look
Yeah.
now, look
Yeah.
at Walt Disney. So
Yeah.
I think that people, often you look at your social media and you think, no one's engaging, but people are watching. And every now and again, you get someone in the DM that appreciates this that you shared or that you shared. And some people
Hmm.
just don't want to put their hands up publicly and say, yes, I experienced that same problem or challenge or whatever.
Hmm.
And I guess it's the same for me, but every now and again I meet, the bald guy in marketing and I think, well, he'd be a great guy to interview. So
They,
so what motivates you every day, Keith, to continue doing what you do?
yeah. Um, I see a lot of I do a lot of in-person networking. My own marketing for my bulk gun marketing services is primarily through in-person networking.
Right.
And I talk to people who have a brave face on, but really they're struggling. And it it breaks my heart.
Yeah.
Um, and and the corporations have money to throw at the problem, and they can dominate the information space with sheer dollars, both paid ads and massive budgets for creative content. Um, and a lot of these local businesses are struggling. And Venessa, I think you said maybe the magic thing. Um, One of the guys I learned from is named Devin Tracy, and he has a saying that says Facebook is something. I'm modifying. It's not a true quote. He says something like, um, Facebook is the most powerful communication that's platform that's ever been put in the hand of the individual. Um, it's a democratization of access to the rest of the world. The challenge is it's really easy because everyone's talking so loud. It's really easy to get drowned out. And thus, the problem with wearing all the hats is if people aren't confident that this is the right thing to do, it's really easy to not do it. Whatever the thing is, it's really easy to not do it consistently. So having an action plan gives you confidence that you're doing the right things and you're ignoring the 7 or 8 or 10 other things you could possibly do, but are right now not the right thing. Um, and then Venessa, I think you said something really powerful is so we have this communication platform called social media, but specifically Facebook. Um, and if we now have this additional tool called AI that can help us produce the right content that shares our brand message authentically. And there's this window of time where these small businesses have an opportunity to capture their market share isn't going to be huge, show up on a pie chart. It's going to be on a multinational scale, multinational corporation entity scale. The slivers of pies are really narrow, but in their local market, they have a window of opportunity where they can dominate their local market.
Absolutely. And if you're not,
Or, or as you said, 2 to 3 years, 5 years from now, they'll just be closed.
well, like, I'm sure you've come across this too, Keith. You'll have someone come to your business and you spoke to them in 21, 22, 23, 24, and they're still in the same freaking place. And I'm like, well, I've got the same advice for you, just with a few edits, because well, shit changes, and
Mhm.
we've got to be versatile and we've got to adapt to our current market. And that's part of the reason why I've shifted to allied medical, because my background screams pharmaceutical and healthcare. So, and I just think that the caliber of person compared to the lazy, not all business owners are inspired or driven to actually grow their businesses, even though they say that. Uh,
Yeah.
because when it comes down to actually the action, the
Hmm.
implementation, they fail miserably. And then they
Hmm.
want to turn around and say it's my fault. I'm sorry, but I can't do
Yeah.
the work for you. I can guide you, I can give you all the resources, but I
Hmm.
cannot pick up that pen or that microphone or that phone for you, and I can't make the videos for you. I can't write the captions. I can do lots of things for you. I can build out a sales funnel, all that kind of carry on. But I still can't do it for you. You've got to do it in your voice,
Hmm.
with your brand. And I teach that,
Hmm.
if you come along to my workshop on the 25th, it's actually, strangely enough, my mother's birthday. My mother passed in 23. So, yeah. And it's actually Anzac Day here. So
Uh-huh.
you'll resonate with Anzac. Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
the 25th is also Anzac Day. And so it's a public holiday. But I said, it doesn't matter because I've changed the date like 3 times. And so I'm just sticking with the 25th. If no one comes, I'm just going to record it. Um,
Uh-huh.
but it's basically two mega prompts that you put into ChatGPT, and ChatGPT interviews you. And it scores you on 6 different personality tests. So your DISC profile, your Enneagram, your Colby, your love languages, the big five, and human design. And then afterwards, it creates a little snippet, and you use that snippet with any AI, right, to know exactly who you are. And then you do the same for your brand. So, have you trained an AI in your voice and brand? What's your favorite AI?
Honestly, I'm just using ChatGPT right now for most of the AI that I'm doing. Um, but I do have a AI that's trained as bald guy marketing, and I actually so I'm a pretty low key kind of low energy kind of guy, and so a lot of times when I read other people's AI content, it's less flamboyant, over the top, and I'm like, dude, that looks and sounds and feels like AI. When ChatGPT feeds me back content for scripts for bald guy marketing, it's this much mellower. It's not using all the hyperbole phrases and
Yeah.
skyrocketing. It's because it's really it is really um it's not truly intuitive. It's not truly insightful. It's not truly thinking, but it does a really good job of replicating those things.
Oh,
It does a good job of putting taking my so I laid out an outline, and I said, this is how I want it stated. This is I literally wrote out hand wrote the intro paragraph. I said, I need an outline for a talk I'm going to give on this topic. This is the intro paragraph. And what it gives me flows in that voice, not in this flamboyant, over the top voice that I read so much in other people's AI driven content that's blatantly AI.
so it's a custom GPT then, yeah?
Yeah.
One of my favorites is Claude. Have you used Claude much?
Yeah. I have not
Uh,
used it. I have not used it, but yeah, I'm aware of Claude.
you should use Claude.
Okay.
Really good for social media content. It's really
Mhm.
good for writing articles, blogs.
Okay.
DeepSeek I use for writing contracts, onboarding documents, legal contracts, those kinds of things. And then I used
Okay.
ChatGPT just recently, or DALL-E, just really recently got very clever. So
Uh-huh.
the I went off ChatGPT for a while, and I was just using Claude and DeepSeek.
Hmm.
But then I tried and I get Claude to do all my image prompts, right? Claude
Okay.
Claude does the best job in recognizing detail in an image than any other AI, right? It noticed the tiniest things that I don't even notice, right? And
Okay.
so when it creates an image prompt, it is so spot on. Then I put that into ChatGPT, and ChatGPT creates the image, right? I used to use Canva Dreamlab, but as of late, it's become pretty shitty, right? Like it can't spell and it can't do text. But suddenly, ChatGPT is amazing with text. So if you haven't tried to make
Mhm.
an infographic or something like that, give it a go because I'm telling you, I'm talking about the free version of
Yeah.
ChatGPT. Uh,
Uh-huh.
and Claude, I have an aversion to paying for Claude, so I just have three accounts, and I just jump between the three accounts.
Rotate.
Yeah, it can get frustrating, but I also teach people, use what you have where you are, right? Don't
Hmm.
always go, oh, I'm going to record this when my microphone arrives, or I'm going to do. But most people
No.
are sitting on gold mines. Why? Because
Mhm.
we just create, and then we often don't even use it in our business.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
we're sitting
Or,
on gold.
or worse, pe- people are told that they need a sales funnel, and they make them and they're shown a landing page. They're shown a landing page and a order page and a thank you page, and they're told this is a funnel, and they think and to a place that's the centerpiece of most sales funnels in our time. But the totality of the funnel is how are you attracting people to that page, and what is your follow-up system after that page,
Absolutely.
especially for the ones who don't purchase. um where what are you, because if they purchase, then you're in your fulfillment bucket. But
Uh-huh.
if they don't purchase, what is your follow-up system to give them that next opportunity? um Unfortunately, one of the things that ends up happening with wearing all these hats is people will start working on a landing page for their funnel, and it's not perfect, and so they won't publish it. And then they get busy doing six other things, and they come back to it and they make this three little tweaks, and then they get busy doing something else and they don't publish it. And they next thing you know, it's 12 months later, and they have this very beautiful landing page that's never seen the internet.
I know, and that's often when I talk to entrepreneurs or stocks, particularly startups, and I say,
Mm-hmm.
well, have you started your social media? Oh, no, I'm waiting for my website to go live. I'm like, well, why are you waiting for your website? I said, by the time your website goes live, and then you only start your socials, now you've got zero eyes on your brand, zero. Whereas if you start your socials, when you first get the idea, just start talking about it. Podcast it, video it, script it, do whatever the hell you want. And like I said to you, like people don't turn up to an event, record it, make it an evergreen. There's just so much you can do today. Just this morning I was on 11 Labs and I was training 11 Labs in my voice, and it learned my voice in 3 minutes. And I was
Uh-huh.
like, and that was a free account. No, I lie, a $5 a month account. Um, and that's so
Yeah.
and that's so cheap. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yes. Yeah.
And so I just
We live in
overlay
an amazing
that.
time.
Yeah, I just overlay that, and then I upload it to CapCut, put some captions on, boom, done.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know, AI is not here to replace us. And look, it's sad but true, it's going to replace certain things, but it's also going to create a lot of jobs because
Mm-hmm.
AI doesn't create itself. Someone's got to
Mm-hmm.
design it, someone's got to manage it, someone's got to,
Mm-hmm.
there are a whole new workforce of AI engineers that never existed before.
Uh-huh.
But a lot of them were in place long before ChatGPT. So, like you were saying, putting something in our hands, we didn't have AI in our hands until sort of 2 years ago.
Hmm.
Um, but AI was going on, like it or not.
Hmm.
Um,
Right.
and we saw it with all the big tech companies, and we see it with the big corporates, like the big grocery
Hmm.
brands, and they've been using it since.
Hmm.
Um, but because back, before they put it in our hands, it was expensive, and
Right.
now that they put it in our hands,
Hmm.
now we can build something from literally nothing.
Yes.
And people should be excited about that. They should be excited
Hmm.
about the medical advances, the better diagnosis. They should be excited, but a lot of people are just like anti-AI.
Hmm. Yeah.
Or that those people that go on Facebook and go, "Oh, was that image created by AI?" Or, "Oh, did you write that with AI?" And I'm like, so what if it's AI? Who cares? You either like it or you don't
Hmm.
like it. Just move on. You know,
Yeah.
we don't need people out there stating the obvious.
Hmm.
Let's I don't do that. I tell you what I don't like. I don't like AI commenting on my post, particularly when it's very robotic and it's
Hmm.
not how someone would normally talk. If you're gonna
Hmm.
do that, train it properly so that it actually sounds like you. Don't just don't.
Which is, well, I think that's your point from the beginning of the part about AI to begin with, is you take the time to train it with your voice, because you're using it not to do something, again, using my words, you're not using it to do something you wouldn't do in the first place. You're only doing it to maximize your human t Okay, so I we're of a similar age. In junior high, I was reading anything about military, and I was reading science fiction. Um, there are still a handful of technologies that were in the original Star Trek that don't exist in our world, like warp drives and teleporters and instantaneous subspace communications. Those three are space magic, right? Almost everything else that is that was science fiction when we grew up. Sorry, my phone's on the charger over there, so I'll use my iPad. It's this magic box that has instant access to all the information in the world. E- That's the world we live in today. And so the reason I was saying that is, so I'm reading Isaac Asimov in as a junior higher, and it's not that the humans don't aren't producers. It's that they're leveraging the robot to do the manual repetitive labor so that their time is more efficiently spent doing human relationship stuff.
Yeah, exactly. I tell people, look, if you're just going to do something once, just do it yourself. You don't need AI. But if you're
Hmm.
doing it the third time, the fourth time, the fifth time, well, now it's time to automate, right? Why manually do something that you could order? It's kind of like how I can literally sit here and order anything in the world that I want, and I
Hmm.
get delivered right to my door. Now, 10 years
Hmm.
ago, that wasn't the case, right? Like
Right.
I couldn't just get my groceries, no Uber. I couldn't get Uber just to deliver me a meal. Or I couldn't
Hmm.
get my groceries in 20 minutes. Now I can. And I think it's great.
Hmm.
You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
I'd rather not go to the supermarket. Not because I don't
Hmm.
like people, but I'd just rather not go sometimes, you know,
Uh-huh.
because I've got to get in my
It's not being
car. Yeah, I've got to
not
go.
being antisocial. It's the whole process of going.
Oh, absolutely. I've got to put everything in my trolley. Then I've got to take everything out of the checkout. Then I've got to put it back in my trolley. Then I go back in my car. And then when I get home, I've got to take it out the car. Whereas the delivery guy just puts it in my front door and I just put it in my cupboard. Easy done.
Hmm.
So why wouldn't
Hmm.
you? So I'm big on
Yeah, he does all that stuff.
I'm
Yeah.
big on doing things quicker, smarter, better. And
Yeah.
I'm always looking for ways to optimize. And what I've sort of found is that simplicity is the new sophistication, right? The
Yeah, yeah. Um, Simplicity is the new sophistication. I like that. Um,
Simple done,
Why?
I should say.
Yeah.
Simple done well.
Yeah. Simple done. Yes. Simple done well. Not as opposed to, yeah. Well, literally doing nothing, right? It has to be a process, but simplify so that it's not as true as, not because it's lacking, but because it's not having added a whole bunch of bells and whistles that don't actually contribute to the outcome.
Oh, absolutely. So
Um,
kind of like a client journey, Keith. So on a client journey, you want to take them on a
mhm,
very logical process. Because if
mhm,
you start adding all this fluff and nonsense to it, you dilute the focus. And so when I
mhm,
say simplicity, I'm make it easy for them to say yes. You know what I mean?
yeah,
Don't make them jump through 1,000 hoops or make them watch an
yeah,
hour of you talking, or just make it easy for them. And it doesn't mean that the back end's easy. The back end could
mhm.
be hell of a complicated, but it's but it, but
But
it's the client facing that looks needs to be simple. You know,
yes.
simple interface, 2, 3 clicks to get anywhere. People are impatient and distraction is huge. You know, we've got phones going off, we've got microwaves going off, we've got fridges talking to us. You know,
Hmm.
it's
Yeah,
crazy.
I do. I do know.
Yeah,
So, um, can I ask you a question?
you can.
Is this where we shift gear just a little bit? Um, because you talked about simplicity is the new sophistication. Um, in your mind, why do most of these solopreneurs never get to a place where they can scale?
Get to a place
No, to where they can scale.
where they can scale. It's fear.
Yeah.
It's fear. Like
Okay.
most of the time, it's fear of failure. Even you know, get some people get to a point where they're doing so well that they start thinking, well, do they deserve it? Um,
Hmm.
so I think it's fear and lack of confidence is one of them. You know, the striving for perfection. That's going to be perfect before I send it out. And I say to people, when you start doing something for the very first time, you're supposed to suck. You are supposed to suck.
Oh, that's great. Not only do you suck, you're supposed to. That's really insightful. That's really
You're
wise.
supposed to suck. And if you nail it the first time out the gate, well, then shit, you should have done it 5 years ago because you're clearly a natural at it, right? So if
Hmm.
you're that good on video, why didn't you start 5 years ago? You know,
Hmm.
but in the beginning, when I learned to do anything new, and I teach myself new shit all the time, just taught myself to do, brew kombucha, taught myself how to make candles, taught myself how to make natural plant infusion balms. In the beginning, you muck it up. Like
Hmm.
the wick's not quite in the middle, and then I researched how to sort that out, and then the kombucha took a little longer to brew. Okay, what did I do wrong in the process? And then try refine, 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 and that's really what
Hmm.
people should be doing. We we have so many subscriptions and so many things that just clutter the whole process. And then we
Hmm.
allow it distraction after distraction, like watching the news. It's the play. It's a distraction. Like
Yeah.
I'm not interested in what they do. Like, do I care that they're killing people over in overseas and what Russia's doing? Yeah, I care, but like I'm tired of hearing
I,
about it. It's
yeah.
been going on for 3 years.
Hmm. I my it's not something I can directly influence. And all it's not that I don't care about any of those incidences or any of those people who are involved in those incidences. It's outside of anything that I can influence. And my obligation to the world, and this is my words for what I hear you saying, is I need to be focused on doing the things that I can do to be the change in the world that I want to see,
Absolutely.
and not take on myself a whole bunch of burdens that for of things that I there again, I come from a part of the have a career where I did those army things. I was part of part of that part of the world. I was doing those kinds of things. Um,
I'm sure you saw some shocking things in the time, right?
yeah, but I can't make those are no longer things I can influence.
Yeah,
I can only do the things that I can do in the circle that I have influence in us with.
absolutely.
Um,
And so,
and so the you said you use the word distraction. Every distraction is a purpose killer.
oh,
It's
yeah,
kill it's killing all of our friends and our family who have a purpose and could be making the world better. Instead, their focus is diluted by all these distractions, and they're not helping make the world better.
absolutely. I know.
And 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 I think so. Circling back to what I think I hear you saying is the reason these small business owners are struggling is because they're trying to make this perfect sales system or whatever it is that they're making, and they're not simplifying it to be sophisticated, is the words I think you used.
Yeah, well, the thing is my business is the slogan or phrase, I bring calm to the chaos, right? So a lot of most businesses that I look at are sort of I use an analogy of a puzzle, right? So
Okay.
they've got this puzzle. This is their business, right?
Mm-hmm.
And some of them have got too many of the same pieces. Some of them have got missing pieces. Some of them, and so we've got to get first before we can do anything. We have to just rid of the clutter. Do you really need this? Do you really? And people that don't want to let go of that shit, they don't. They really like that subscription, and I'm like, but do you
Mm-hmm.
need it? Is it going to make you money? No. Okay, well, so get rid of it then. Just get rid
Yeah.
of it because it's a
Mm-hmm.
distraction and it's costing
Yeah.
you money that you could be spending in money making activities.
Yes.
So Keith, we've got like way over time, but that's okay. And I think we both interviewed each other in the end anyway. So
Okay.
you tell people how they can get a hold of you and what your current offer is. And if you guys look down in the description, you will see all Keith's links. And look
Yeah.
out for the Bald Guy Marketing on Facebook. He's there. He's often on the high level group, the official
Uh-huh.
group, and
Mm-hmm.
speaking his truth. And that's why I wanted to get Keith on the show because I believe in authenticity. I believe in harnessing your natural talents, and we all have them, whether we can
Mm-hmm.
see them or not. And
Mm-hmm.
part of my job is to help you see them and grow as a human being and as a business. So
Yeah. Yeah.
so please tell everyone how they can find you and how they can work with you.
Okay. So let's definitely use the better plan. So it's betterplan.thebaldguymarketing.com. And that is my marketing consultation. It's a standalone service. Um, and often as part of that process, we end up I end up giving a person that marketing plan, that strategy. Hey, here's what you go with, and then they take it to their cousin or whoever, and now that person who has the basic idea of how to do Facebook, now they know how to turn it into a business marketing system. Um, I think you use the word again, simplified systems, stability. Um, so that's the thing. I never set out to grow. I had not set out to grow a YouTube channel. I have a really small, tiny YouTube channel. Um, but yeah, the main place I am is on Facebook. I'm pretty easy to find on Facebook. I have a unique Keith Bashirs is a unique name. If you misspell it, you won't find me. But if you spell it correctly, I'm the only one. Um, it's not like having a Bob Smith kind of name. So that's I have that going for me. That's one of my natural talents. Um,
Mine's the same. Mine's Vene, and Minkley. There's hardly any of us. So Minkley is
Yeah.
my married surname. That my kids are Minkleys, and so I'm just going to stay a Minkley, right?
Uh-huh.
But
For the kids.
my first name gets misspelled all the time. You know,
Yeah, because people put A's in it, don't.
VA, yeah, instead of
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah. They
yeah,
call it Vanessa instead of Vanessa.
Venessa, yeah.
Um,
Well, what happened
yeah.
is back in the day when my mother decided on the name, there was a big thing where you looked up where the origin of a name came from, and the origin of Venessa with an A is Greek. And
Okay.
when we lived in Durban, there was a big Greek community that owned most of the stores, the shops,
Hmm.
particularly the corner dairy, or I don't know what you guys called it. In South Africa, we called them tea rooms or cafes. Over here, they call dairies. But
Hmm.
it's your corner shop. It sells,
Yeah.
convenience
Yeah.
stuff.
The convenience store.
Yeah, and so because it
Yeah.
had a Greek connotation, she didn't like it, so she changed it to an E. And so
Uh-huh.
there are a few of us in the world, but I don't think there's
Uh,
more. I don't think there's more than 10. And yeah, I just ignore it now. But I'm a stickler for spelling other people's names correctly. I'm a stickler.
hmm
Yeah. So look, I'll put all the links below.
So,
Get a hold of Keith. Have a session with him if you enjoy, what he said today. And I'll be sharing this across my network. Keith will get a copy and he can share it on his network.
okay.
And
And
I'll
we'll include your links as well.
absolutely, and I'll add some captions and I'll make it all pretty for you, right? So,
All right.
and then we can go from there. So, thank you so much, Keith. I really appreciate your time. It's been twice as much as what was committed, but I think it turned out really well. So, thank you for your time, and we will talk soon.
Yeah. Awesome. It's great chatting.